So, about 2 weeks ago, rumors started to circulate that Xbox was thinking of changing its strategy when it comes to exclusive games. Xbox President Phil Spencer has been honest about the fact that the Xbox consoles are in a distant third place behind Sony's PlayStation and Nintendo Switch, and that he was looking to spice things up. Then, last week, Xbox held a podcast business update where they confirmed that 4 of their formerly exclusive titles would be going multi-platform. They later revealed these to be the rhythm action game Hi-Fi Rush, the co-op survival game Grounded, the multiplayer part game Sea of Thieves, and the adventure game Pentiment. Sony, meanwhile, took a similar tone, noting that with the astronomical cost of developing its excellent roster of first-party games, some of that risk could be offset by publishing those games on other platforms. Since most PlayStation games already eventually release on PC, one can only assume this means that some will also eventually come to Xbox. Overall, these seems like the tentative first steps that, if successful, could perhaps lead to a world where the biggest console exclusives will come to other consoles for all gamers to enjoy, perhaps after a timed exclusivity period for the benefit of the company that made them. For us, lifelong PlayStation and Nintendo gamers, there are several Xbox exclusives besides the ones that were announced that we would love to play if they were to come over to our platform of choice. We are not going to just list every Xbox exclusive here, because we are not interested in everything the company puts out. We play our games together, so co-op means a lot more to us than it will for those who prefer to play solo. Also, ridiculous amounts of gore just for the sake of it isn't something that interests me, so something like Gears is also not in our radar. Some of it just isn't for us, and that's fine. But there definitely are games that we are interested in. Here are the ones that we would be most excited for.
Microsoft's Flight Simulator is exactly what it says in the title. It's a game series that simulates the challenges of flying all different types of aircraft and the beauty of how you can see the world when you're up there in the skies. I know for a fact this type of game isn't for everyone, but really, what game is? I really just want to turn on some really good music and vibe out while I fly to all the exotic locations I'm not going to in real life. This series has been around since 1982, if you can believe it, and over that time, Microsoft has shown that they know what they are doing when they release one of these. As with all the games here, there's no way for me to know if I'm really gonna love it. Since I'm a lifelong PlayStation gamer, I've never had the pleasure of being able to hop into the cockpit of one of these beautiful aircraft. But I'll be first in line to sign up if this comes to PlayStation in the future.
Next is a game that nobody outside of Microsoft knows anything about, The Elder Scrolls 6. What we can safely assume is that the game is years away from release, since Bethesda had to finish working on Starfield, and maybe even the next Fallout, before they could really get started on it. Also, since Microsoft paid such a ridiculously high price for Bethesda, it's assumed that Elder Scrolls 6 would be a PC and Xbox exclusive. I know that a big portion of gamers were huge fans of Skyrim and want to hop back into basically Skyrim 2, but with better graphics. We are not those gamers. We are much bigger fans of The Elder Scrolls Online, because as huge as these games are, we would much rather take on that adventure with our friends. So if the next Elder Scrolls game is going to feature an option to play co-op with a friend or two, you can count us in on day one.
If you know me, then you already know that we are huge Marvel fans over here. With the success Insomniac is having on PlayStation with the Spider-Man games, and with EA working on games starring Black Panther, Captain America, and Iron Man, Xbox was not to be outdone. Last year they showed off the first trailer for an upcoming Blade game. It showed no gameplay, but that fact does not slow down our hype at all. Blade is one of Marvel's best superheroes, and a game where you get to hunt down vampires and other supernatural threats in the big city? Man, just tell us what we can pre-order, we got you.
Xbox recently showed off the upcoming entry to its long-running RPG franchise Fable last year, And while it stirred up some cringy controversy of its own over how its main character looked, I've always been intrigued by the thought of playing one of these games. First of all, 2 of the 3 main games are co-op, which you already know is a huge selling point for us here at the Ramen Spot. Second, it is a fantasy setting, but it's more inclusive and diverse, which is also hugely important to us. High fantasy that is just rehashing Tolkien really isn't appealing when so many games and movies have already done all you can do with the setting. But when you introduce more different cultures and locations to your fantasy story, you also freshen up that setting with something new and exciting. I'm ready to give the next Fable a try if it pops up on PlayStation anytime soon. Those are the upcoming Xbox games that we'd like to see the most on our console of choice. And in return, we see no reason why the big PlayStation exclusives can't come over to Xbox as well. The ones we would like to see head over to Team Green are... Just kidding, we want to see them all on Xbox. I mean, everybody needs to be able to experience the beauty of the amazing games that the PlayStation has to offer, especially the Horizon games. My God. Thank you for listening.